We are with Kelly McDonald Weeks here at the Soule Farm in Middleboro. And tell us what you do at this farm.
So I am the executive director at this farm, and our job, there are only two positions here. There's the executive director and our education coordinator, who's missing out today. But my job is doing a little bit of everything around the farm. We just had a really awesome kids program yesterday, which I got to help with. I help facilitate and run events. We lease to some farmers on the land. We take care of the buildings and the properties. A big part of my job is working on the preservation of the farm and making sure that we can raise enough money to keep it open and running and all that good stuff.
So what kinds of programs are we talking about here?
So the way that we help fund the farm and keep it open is we do all kinds of agricultural-based programming. We do slow handcraft programming, and we do a lot of kids programming. So we do everything from our Sheep Day Festival and our Harvest Fair. We have a really beautiful, if I do say so myself, farm-to-table dinner. That's a really big fundraiser every summer. You ladies should definitely come. It's really, really nice.
Sounds great.
It's out in the field. It's a beautiful evening of food that celebrates the local farmers in the area. We always use our farmers in the back. We also have concert series in the summertime. A lot of the big programming happens in the summertime. In the winter, though, and all through the year, we do workshops for kids and adults that help bring slow crafts to the farm, but also are exciting and fun for people to enjoy. We also do field trips with a lot of our local schools in the area, and then we do summer camp programs. So they're all different programs that teach kids and adults about nature, about slow craft, about farm and agriculture in some way or another.
And what is slow craft? I don't think I've ever heard that term.
Oh, it may be one I made up, but it's really like handcrafts is what I think of, like crafts that are done by hand. I mean, sewing machine is technically a type of slow craft too, like quilting and that sort of thing, but something that's not mass produced in a way, to me, that's like a slow craft. Basket weaving, we have basket weaving coming up, and clay, stuff like that you're really, really like tactile experiences that I think we sometimes get away from, but are really important to do.
Okay, and what animals do you have here?
So the farm has quite a number of animals. We don't own all of them. This is Fernando. He's giving you his good side. We have goats. Our own animals are goats. We have, on the other side of the farm, we have chickens, we have a duck, and we have a couple of bunnies, and then we have renting farmers. So Meg Riley is the 4-H coordinator for Plymouth County, and she used to be the director here a little bit ago, and she has animals here which include some ginormous sows that you could come visit, but don't pet, please. And she also has a bunch of sheep here for us. And then we also rent to Sheepdog Junction, who's a sheepdog trainer. He's a 3rd-generation sheepdog trainer, and he doesn't have a sheep here right now, but he typically has his sheep in the back.
So the whole point of the farm, it seems like, is to educate children and others about farm life, and that's excellent.
The last people who lived here were the Guidabonis. It's named after George Soule, who was on the Mayflower and owned part of this property. But the Guidabonis really made this, we feel, really valuable decision to donate the land to the town of Middleboro. So Middleboro owns this property, but we lease it from them. We have 120 acres that we lease from them. And our mission, our job, the reason we get to lease it is that we are entrusted with making sure that agriculture is happening here always. So we always have farmers, and that we really do programming that encourages people to connect to farming in some way. So through slow craft, through learning about animals, through our field trips, that sort of thing, it helps us to make sure we're following our mission and the reason we get to use the farm. But it also keeps it from turning into houses. It keeps it as a place where people can see where their food comes from start to finish, even if they don't always like it. But learning where your food comes from and having a place. The farm is open 365 days a year. You can come and explore. It's open. We just ask that you don't go in our sheep or any of our animal enclosures and don't mess with the farmers because they're working hard. But it's a place that you can come and explore and walk our trails and just like be in nature.
What crops do you grow?
So we don't grow anything, but our farmers in the back, we're actually going to grow some flowers this year, but we typically don't grow anything. We have a children's garden that we do grow stuff in, but our farmers grow all kinds of things. We have Dave Purpura from Plato's Harvest, and he grows all kinds of amazing produce all year round, and it's sold at the Plymouth Farmers Market. And then we also have Kristen Webb from Teetlebug Farm. She grows a bunch of different varieties. I know she grew green beans last year and a bunch of flowers and some other things that I'm not doing due diligence for, but she grows a bunch of stuff and sells at farmers markets as well. We also have Honey from Kevin's Honey Farm. He has a bunch of beehives and bee boxes in the back. He just did our really well attended and awesome and super fun bee workshop last weekend, and he's going to do another one for us in May. But we ourselves don't grow things. We're working on it, but we don't grow anything right now. And we are
Right.
an certified organic farm for those farmers in the back. So and then all the practices we use in our spaces are all organic, even though we're not certified for that yet. We're working on it. But yes, that's a way that we're continuing that farming legacy.
That's great. How long has the farm been in existence?
The farm has been in existence. I believe we're at 33 years this year. So in the late 90s, there was a kind of like a weird dairy crash in Middleboro and across the country, honestly. And so the last farming that was done was a dairy farm.
Okay.
And so when that ended, the Guidabonis, it's really hard work keeping up a farm, as we know.
Yes, it
so
is.
they passed it over to the town.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to look around.
Okay, please do. I'll
And-
show you some more of our cool animals.
That sounds great. What's in the house? Is that
Oh, we have
antiques
two.
and-
We have two families that live in the house.
okay.
Yeah, so the house and the barn were built in the 1850s, and they are still standing. There were original dwellings from the 1700s from the first family that lived here, but they burned during some of the conflicts that happened in the area. But the barn has two residents, and they help with the preservation of the farm in a lot of different ways for us as well as living here and getting to soak up the beauty of the place.
excellent? Great. Well, thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you. So this is the barn. It's not very glamorous, but it is really historically very interesting and very cool. And because this is all original to the 1850s. And because it was a dairy barn, we have cool stuff in it. So like my kids, if they were here, would tell you about the trapdoors. We have one here and over there that are bolted shut. But when the cows were living in the basement or were being brought into the basement to be milked, this made it much easier for the farmers to just pull the hay from the lofts up there. You can see up there, and toss it down there. One of our field trips is simple machines, so it's like thinking about levers or gears or things that we use around a farm, like an axe or really simple tools that actually are simple machines. And so we'll set up like a pulley system in here and let the kids pull up a bale of hay, and then you stand at different points, and the gravity's going to be much easier, much harder depending on where you are, and then you throw in a double. It gets all fancy from there. But even something as simple as a wheelbarrow that we take for granted is a machine, and so we understand how helpful it is, but getting them to think about how it is a machine and how angles work, and they seem really simplistic, but it's a really good science lesson for them to think about. And math, is throwing in math.
Yeah.
Babies in the springtime.